Sara. This is Sara Félix. Says, hi, I'm Sara. I'm 3D artist from Spain. De la madre patria. I graduated 2 years ago and I've been working on improving my skills and building a portfolio since then. My goal is to land a job in the video game industry as a character artist. My current portfolio focuses on stylized characters, but lately I've been feeling like trying out realistic style, but I don't know if it's a good idea to have a portfolio with 2 different art styles. Yeah, it's totally fine. Totally fine. What do you think it's best, to specialize in one style or to showcase versatility? Again, this is a contentious topic because everyone has a different experience. To me, and in my career, it has been useful to have a lot of different things because I can do a lot of different projects, or I can work on a lot of different types of projects. For some people, specifically for the goals that they might have in mind, specializing has worked better. So it really depends. And I always use my good friend Chris Silva as an example. So Chris, I met Chris like 13 years ago on my first job, and he specializes in anime style sculpt. He is freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. I love his stuff. He's got a lot of like fan art here. And he's done like a lot of things. He's done collectibles. He's currently working, I think, in Canada. And he does this stylized sculpt. And most of the stuff that he does, at least here in the portfolio, is pretty much only like sculpt and polypaint. Like he doesn't do like the full pipeline. He's like a full-on time sculptor. So he hyper specialized on sculpting. And he's doing great. Yeah, senior character artist. There you go. So he does like really good on this particular style. Would I hire him to do a realistic character? I don't think so. Why not? Because right now I don't see anything on his portfolio that shows me that he can do like high like quality realistic work. He might be able to. Like I'm like pretty confident he could, to be honest. But the kind of work that he wants to do is this kind of stuff, right? Like very stylized, very anime-ish, very sort of like cartoon looking elements, which is great. So he's an example of of someone who hyper specialized on something. If you look at other portfolios, you can look at my portfolio, for instance, you're going to see a little bit of everything. I have a little bit of realistic, a little bit of stylized, a little bit of cartoon. I'm going to be adding more stuff very soon that's going to be completely different from what I usually do. So to me, having that has helped me because I can work on a lot of different projects, and I like that kind of work. But it will always depend on what you're looking for, okay? So let's take a look at your portfolio. Nice. Yeah, this is fun. Oh, I love this. Has a lot of character to it. Cactus fighter. Nice. Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, there you go. This is exactly... Guys, please use this as an example from Sara. This is what you want to do when you're doing a translation from a concept. Yes, a couple of things are going to change. For instance, the pants are a little bit thinner than the ones that we have right here. The boots are a little bit thinner as well. Those are things that your art director or your client will tell you to change or modify depending on the needs of the project. But look at how the essence of the character was kept perfectly. One horn right here, 4 spikes on the little like bundle right there, all of the horns here, or the spikes on the cap and everything. Like she's following every single fold, every single form, every single element as close as possible. This is what you want to do when you're doing a translation from a concept piece to a 3D piece. You want to keep the spirit as close as possible, okay? As close as possible. Great retopology, great poly count. Yeah, this is great. UVs are fine. 2 UV maps, not bad. Nice bakes, nice everything. Yeah, this is great. That's a great character right there, Sara. Even though it's a relatively simple character, right, in terms of technical like execution or technical difficulty, it's still a very nicely executed character. So that's what we want to be looking for. But then we go to this kind of stuff. And you guys know what my thoughts are about like very simple things. This is one of those things that it's fun, it's interesting, but this is more for like Instagram or something like that. Like you might know when I want to have that one here. Candle birds. Oh, are they hand painted? Nice. Yeah, they're hand painted. Awesome. Yeah, this is cool. Now, my only feedback with this ones in particular is to do a little bit more cleanup on the gold, especially. Looks a little bit splotchy, right? So we probably want to clean it up a little bit so it doesn't look as rough. It's not bad. But we can definitely clean it up a little bit more. And to be honest, I would check the thumbnail because I like this bird, the big bird, more than the little bird. I know the little bird is cute, but I will, again, it's kind of like the expectation versus result or versus delivery. So if I'm looking at this little bird right here and I click it, I'm expecting to see the little bird. And if the first thing that I see is this big bird, it's like, oh, cool. but I was expecting to see the little bird first. I'm not saying it's bad. Again, it's like a nice surprise, but it might be better if I see the big bird first, and then the surprise is a little cute bird at the end, right? It's one of those things that you could do. I like that one. Sugar Apple Guardian. Interesting. Interesting. Do we have a concept? Yes, we do. Again, you were very close to the concept. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love the concept. I don't find it as, you know, interesting. But this is where taste differs quite a bit. So if you found this concept to be really, really cool, that's awesome. It's just that to me, I would probably never pick this concept because it just like feels a little bit weird. But in terms of execution, of technical execution, I think you did great. Yeah. Yeah, I love how you handled the beard, by the way. That can be quite tricky, and you did a great job. Let's see, we got a question here. If we do a to-do list for a portfolio, what do you think is the best footages we need to have more chance to captivate the viewer? So it's about the thumbnail, guys. Like, the thumbnail is going to be the first thing. So this, like a clean, clear thumbnail of what's going on in there, it's important. I think, for instance, Sara here really has a very nice understanding of that because all of her thumbnails are quite nice. You need to have a little bit of contrast, right? Again, dark background, light character, that usually helps. And of course, if you have something that's like a very like technically intense or things like that, that's another way to really push it to the next level. Nice UVs, very clean. I'm not sure I would use that much space for the beard. I know that you probably use like a lower texture sample or texture size, but you might be able to fit it somewhere, maybe. And then this one's very good, very, very good. The sculpt, or did you finish the whole process? Looks like you finished the whole process. Yeah, really good sculpt here. Poly count 44,000, perfect. Oh, I love the sword. Okay, so I love this character, Sara. I think she looks quite nice. Again, very stylized, very cool. I don't love the textures. I think we're having a little bit of an identity crisis here with the textures because I'm not entirely sure what type of like shading you're going for. Kind of looks like Fortnite, but then we're missing saturation, and then it kind of looks like League of Legends, but then we're missing the hand-painted style approach. So I'm not sure what you were going for in terms of shading. Again, like I'm not sure what game this character would be on. But what I would do is I would just like add a little bit more highlights. Again, if we take a look at the levels, you're gonna see that most of your tones, most of your colors, are on the darker side of things. Filter. And this is an artistic choice. Doesn't necessarily mean that she's wrong. But if we add a little bit more highlight, I'm gonna do something a little bit crazy here. Right. One second, guys. I'll try something very crazy. Okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have the original one, and then on top, I'm gonna add this one right here, and I'm gonna use something like a multiply. No. Screen. Great. There we go. See that? So this is the original one. If I add a little bit more gloss, a little bit more highlight, it changes how we perceive the volumes and the silhouettes of the character. This is a very sort of like a very basic way to do it. This is what they do when you're doing like ZBrush and you do like comp inside the Photoshop. You use a lot of this like techniques, screen, multiply, and things like that to modify how we perceive the character. But this is one of those things that can really, again, push some of the elements a little bit higher so that we see more material definition. Because right now it looks very flat. I actually thought it was just poly paint from ZBrush and just like a clay render with some colors. But now that I see that you have all of the maps, it's just that. Like, and I know you did this recently, 3 months ago. So it might be a good idea to just like decide what kind of stuff you want. I have the video that I did for the orc, the hand-painted style. You could use some of those techniques to, for instance, add a little bit of light on the top parts of the character so that she feels like she's more illuminated than what we have right now. Again, it's just a little bit of that stuff. But yeah, this is very cool, Sara. Now, you were asking about realistic stuff. I'm going to be completely honest. You have a really strong and clean stylized look, so you might as well just exploit that. If you want to try doing a realistic character on the side and see how you feel about it, that's great, but you have a lot of talent with this particular like cartoony and animated style, so I would encourage you to just keep pushing for this and do something similar to what I was showing with Chris, where he focuses on that particular kind of style. So very, very cool that you are doing this kind of stuff. I would encourage you to continue doing it and just like polish it even more if possible. But great stuff, Sarah. Great stuff. Drink some water before I get dehydrated here. How are you guys holding up? Bored already? Are we good? Let's see. How do you feel about character artists who like to occasionally work on props and VFX? Sometimes I struggle with keeping both in my portfolio. That's a great question, Tay Cyber. So, I'm one of those artists. I like to do a little bit of everything just to learn. But one thing I've learned in the past couple of years is that I need to be very honest with myself and understand that if I'm doing it just for fun, that's fine. Like if I want to do like an explosion just for fun, if I want to do an animation just for fun, that's fine. But if I'm going to do it as part of work, as part of production, as part of a project, it's better to leave those kind of things to the people who are specialized in those kind of things. Like if you want the best result, you're going to give the person who is specialized in that skill that specific task, right? So that's what we did on the last project with the museum. Actually, like I told my partner, hey, I'll do the animation for the dinosaurs. And then when I started, I finished the ring, I finished the skinning, and I was about to do the animation. I was like, no, it's not. Like I can do it. I might be able to get away with it, but it's gonna look like not that great. It's like, no, you know what? Let's invest on an animator. Let's really like hire someone who's specialized in this, and we're gonna get a better result. And we did, and we had a great result. So you gotta understand that for specific things, like you can't do everything, right? Like that's the truth to this. You can't do everything. You can learn a lot about everything, and you can try, and you can practice, and you can like explore those things. But there are things that are definitely going to be outside of your control, and at that point, it's better to just let others do it as part of a team effort, right? Okay, let's go. These portfolios make me feel talentless, Mr. Ave. No. That's not what they should be doing, my friend. When you see a portfolio, like a really good portfolio, you should feel inspired by it, okay? That's the trick, huge cookie. You need to see them and be like, what can I learn from this portfolio? Like from Sara, right? Like what can we learn from Sara? Well, we can learn that she takes the concept and she really follows it. She doesn't invent anything. She takes what she sees right here and she copies that as close as possible to the 3D stuff. That's the kind of stuff that you need to take away from it. You need to learn from what others are doing. You need to learn what they're doing wrong, like all of the things that I've been correcting or giving advice about in the past couple of hours. Learn those and apply those to your own work, and then learn all of the things that they're doing right and be motivated by those things. Because here's the thing, and this is one of the secrets that got me through school when I was a student. Because I had a lot of, like, I still have a lot of peers who are way better than me. Like, I've never said that I'm the best 3D artist or anything. I'm really good at some of the stuff that I do, but there's always room for improvement and ways to learn more things. So when I was a student, one of the things that I realized is no one is born knowing this kind of stuff. So if I see someone that has like an amazing level, they learn it at some point. Yes, some people are fast learners or they have some innate talent to learn this kind of stuff and to understand and to put it into practice. But we all start at zero when we're born, right? So if I put my effort, if I sacrifice some of the things to really invest time in the things that I want, I will be able to get there. You will be able to get there. We will all be able to improve. Right? That's the secret to all of the skills, and this applies to everything in life, by the way. So you need to understand that whenever we see something that, or someone that's doing something that we are like awestruck about or that we're like fascinated by, we could get there. We just need to understand that it will require a lot of like effort, time, patience to get there. Okay?